Welcome to LMC Media's Election Night 2021 program. For this election day, up for grabs are countywide and municipal positions. Westchester County Executive George Latimer seeks his second term, and he's challenged by Christine Schulte. County Clerk Tim Idoni is up for re-election, and he's running against Scooter Scott. County Legislator Catherine Parker seeks re-election. She's running unopposed. And there also are 8 candidates seeking 5 seats as New York Supreme Court Justice for the 9th Judicial District. In our municipalities, your ballots also show uncontested races. In the Village of Mamaroneck, Mayor Tom Murphy and Trustee Nora Lucas each seek another term without ballot opposition. And in the Village of Larchmont, incumbent trustees Dana Post and Bridget Brennan and Village Justice Thea Beaver all look to hold their positions. Again, they are unopposed. Town of Mamaroneck councilperson Jane Elkind-Eny seeks the supervisor spot. Councilperson Sabrina Fiddleman goes for her second term, and Robin Nichinsky looks to join the board. Ron Meister is the candidate for town justice. All are unopposed. For the town of Mamaroneck, it marks the unofficial beginning of a new era, as town supervisor Nancy Seligson did not run for re-election. She first joined the town board in 2000 and was elected supervisor in 2011, a position she's held since then. We speak with Seligson and others about her time in office. Mamaroneck Town Supervisor Nancy Seligson is ending her more than 2 decades of service to the town board. Nancy joined the board as a councilwoman in 2000 and was elected supervisor in 2011. And if you're unfamiliar with that title, think of it as the CEO of the town board. Now, a lot has happened in those over 21 years, including a pandemic and a property reassessment, but there's a whole lot more. So Nancy, thank you for your service and for your time. But tell us, what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of running a good government, I have to say, of running a responsive, respectful, good government. We've had responsible budgeting, and we have made some great strides in some areas as well, and we have really matured with technology. One of the things we had to address and that we successfully addressed in the first year that I became supervisor was recovering our AAA financial rating by Moody's Investor Services. We implemented a fund balance recovery program and policy, and we were very successful in doing that. So we recovered the AAA rating, and that has continued throughout my tenure as supervisor.
I just wanted to congratulate Nancy on her retirement. She has been so instrumental in helping the town maintain AAA bond rating, which allows the town to borrow at a very low interest rate. She understands both the financial and the non-financial aspects of that, and she has been instrumental in helping and guiding the budget so that we do maintain that AAA rating. Her strength in when we do the presentation is, describing the climate changes, the initiatives, the sustainable initiatives that the town has taken, has become an important part of the bond rating. So she's been very instrumental in that, and all those pieces together, financial and non-financial, really help maintain the budget and the bond rating.
So one of the more important things we did together, Nancy and I, was the accomplishment of a AAA bond rating, and we actually had developed quite a show, if you will, because the controller, the supervisor, and the administrator would all be on the phone with the Moody's rating service when they called and asked us questions. So having the input of an elected official and appointed officials, we got the rating with a slam dunk. It was never a question. So that was clearly one of the accomplishments that she should be proud of. What was so great about working with Nancy is she clearly understood the advantages of the form of government of the town of Mamaroneck and knew the importance of the elected official, but where the elected official boundaries began and ended, and when the appointed officials should be involved. And it was just a wonderful partnership.
That first year of being a supervisor, we had a few challenges, and I was very glad that we did get through them successfully.
So what was happening at that time?
Well, we had the housing situation, the affordable housing lawsuit in the county of Westchester.
Right.
And Mamaroneck had been listed as one of the communities that was not in compliance with the housing
The
policy.
town of Mamaroneck.
Yes, the unincorporated area of the town of Mamaroneck. So we went to work to show the federal government and the county that we did not feel that was appropriate for us because we have a lot of great programs in the town. We have the wonderful Hommocks Park Apartments, which has a lot of affordable housing that we built as a town and that the housing authority runs.
The town of Mamaroneck was one of a number of municipalities that had been cited for, in the opinion of the federal government, not doing enough for affordable housing. And the way that Nancy decided to approach it is there was a monitor, if you will, that had been appointed by the federal court. And we brought the monitor in. Nancy said, let's bring the monitor in. Let's talk to the monitor. Let's show the monitor around. And that's what we did. We had him in. We gave them all the information about the housing programs that we do run. And then we took them on a tour of the town and we said, here are the plots of land. We showed them property values. But in all of that, Nancy kept reminding the monitor that, hey, we're not behind the eight ball here. We have done a lot for affordable housing. We built the Hommocks Park Apartments. We run a Section 8 housing voucher program. But there are limitations because of the cost of land. We were one of 7 communities that have been cited. After that tour, we were taken off that list. We called ourselves one of the 7 bad boys or bad girls, whatever you want to call it. And we were taken off the list. So the decision to do that by Nancy, to bring the person in and talk them through it, turned out to be of great benefit to the town.
So we made a lot of changes, and that did satisfy the federal monitor in that process. And so I feel like we changed the opportunity for affordable housing in the town of Mamaroneck.
Has it developed the way you'd hoped it would develop?
Not as much as I'd hoped. We found at the time and since that time that it's very, very difficult to build affordable housing in our community because we are already a very developed community, so there's not large tracts of unused land in our community. But the small tracts that we do have, or tracts that could be reused as for affordable housing, are so very expensive that it makes the finances very, very difficult. So we continually invite developers in to see if they can create affordable housing, and we continue to work on it today as well. But one of the other things that hit us that first year was Superstorm Sandy.
Oh, I didn't realize that was right at that time.
Yes, and it was really, really the worst storm that had hit our community in history at that point. And it was really the wind effects of all the problems we had, which was knocked out all our power in the community. And we realized very quickly that we needed to communicate with residents in a completely different way than we had been before. So that led to a communications upgrade, and I created monthly newsletters that go out to residents. It's an electronic newsletter, and twice a year mailed newsletters. We also instituted robocalls for emergency situations, and I actually was calling residents on a daily basis during Superstorm Sandy because people were in such dire straits and they couldn't get the information that they needed.
Well, you didn't have internet and
right.
Or TV.
Right. And we needed to let people know what was happening in the region, in the county, because of course people were very limited in their scope of what was happening just to them, and they thought they were alone. They thought that the town of Mamaroneck was alone. It wasn't happening all around us, but we know now that it was a wide, wide scale event.
Nancy had developed within the robocall system a program where we decided where the importance of an elected official, the town supervisor, doing the message versus an appointed official doing the message. So for instance, during Hurricane Sandy, every day around 5 or 5:30 in the afternoon, Nancy would do the robocall, and it was very well received by the residents that they were hearing from their chief elected official where we stood, be patient, hang in there. So again, it was sort of like a natural partnership as to who should do what.
But it was a difficult time, but it was a time where I think the town really did shine in the sense that we were there for our residents, we communicated with our residents, and the staff really stepped up to make sure that we were all safe.
Think about the number of people that were without power and the number of trees that had come down and all the work of the staff to clean it up. It was very important for Nancy to be, as I said earlier, advising the residents, here's what we've done today, here's what we're going to do tomorrow. And it brought a sense of calm. Obviously, many people were upset, but they knew each day they were going to know exactly what was going on. And so I think that was very important for her as the supervisor to convey that message to the residents.
And we've had some other pretty significant storms, most recently Hurricane Ida. It was just a terrible situation for the area of the unincorporated area of the town of Mamaroneck. It was much worse for the residents of the village of Mamaroneck. And residents of the village of Larchmont also were very impacted by it.
I bet you never expected to see that again, that kind of storm again.
No, but I think that with climate change, we do have to expect severe weather and perhaps more frequent severe weather. So we do have to make ourselves more resilient to that kind of event, and we have to make ourselves more sustainable. And of course, that's an area that I really have focused on in my tenure as town supervisor also, because it was an area that I was already working in before I became supervisor. And when I was a member of the town board, it was something I focused on. And when I was chair of the Coastal Zone Management Commission before I was on the town board, it is an area that they focus on as well.
And I know you've had some accomplishments in that area, so why don't you tell us what those are?
Yeah, I am very proud that we created the Sustainability Collaborative in the town, which is our town's environment committee.
It's thanks to Nancy that we have a group of volunteers in the town called the Sustainability Collaborative. This is a team of volunteers who serve as an advisory council or advisory committee to support the town board and our supervisor to research and gather and activate community members around environmental issues and protection.
And they're really the ones, the volunteers really were the ones who made food composting happen in our community. And that was a big change.
So Nancy Seligson brought me in the summer of 2017 to start the food scrap recycling program for Town of Mamaroneck and Village of Larchmont. And that's how I got involved in the Sustainability Collaborative. Thanks to her, our whole community is engaged in living more sustainably every day. And then I also got involved in the Love Your Food program, which is all about reducing our wasted food, trying to reduce the amount of food we waste, share the excess with those in need, and compost the rest. And that's all thanks to Nancy too, and I'm still involved with that. We're really going to miss Nancy. Thank you, Nancy, for all your leadership, for being the champion of sustainability in our community, getting us all directly involved every day in doing something to live more sustainably in our lives. We will really miss you, but we know we'll be seeing you around.
I feel grateful to all of the volunteers and all of our committees and commissions in the town. But at the Sustainability Collaborative, you can get 30 or 40 volunteers showing up to participate. So it really is an exciting group. One of the most important projects I think that we accomplished was an energy performance contract, and that was in 2014. We worked with the consultant and contractor Honeywell, which is a known name, to actually upgrade and update our town center, firehouse, ice rink, and updated all the streetlights to LEDs in one contract. And the beauty of that contract was that they guaranteed our energy savings from that contract. And if we didn't make that energy savings, they would pay us the difference.
That was something that actually a resident had suggested to Nancy, and we played around with it for a while and said, you know, we ought to give this a shot. And from that, we learned a lot about the good and the bad of an energy performance contract. But think of it, from that, we put in a streetlight system that saves $50,000 or $60,000 a year. We redid much of the ice rink to make it more energy efficient. It would also allow us to do other improvements. We improved the heating and lighting systems in the town center building. So it was a new experience, and we were experimenting in some ways, but in the end, it was a benefit to the town.
And I wanted to point that out, that in the years 2019 to 2020, we saved over $330,000 in energy costs because of that contract. And that helps to pay off the interest and the principal of the borrowing that we did for that project.
And that helps keep you with the AAA rating.
Yes. So I really feel proud of the town board for supporting that project, and for the staff, specifically Steve Altieri, our previous town administrator, for being willing and open to looking at a new and better way of doing a project.
Most of us don't know too many others who bring what Nancy brings to the community in that regard. The town's certification, for example, as a climate smart community by New York State, and we were one of the first in the state to achieve that, speaks to the town's efforts and Nancy's initiatives in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, from monitoring and protecting the water quality of our beautiful Long Island Sound, providing affordable, clean energy by way of community solar, for example, on the rooftop of the Hummocks ice rink, overseeing volunteer efforts to win grants for the installation of electric vehicle chargers. There's just so much going on to preserve the long-term health and natural beauty of this town, and Nancy has been behind virtually all of it, one way or another.
The town center parking lot was in disastrous shape. We knew we had to rebuild it and repave it. But I said, let's see if we can do it in a more environmentally sustainable way. We put in rain gardens, so the water's actually detoured into areas that are specifically built with rain-absorbing plants, as well as a substructure that can handle the water. And then when it runs off underground is treated, so it's not as polluted. That has been used as a model for others to show and highlight green infrastructure, which is something that's very important for flooding.
So what would you like to see done in the future?
I would like to see the town continue to think about sustainable and resilient projects and programs to make the town more livable and really improving our quality of life. So I'm hoping that is planting more trees, calming the traffic, creating bike lanes, doing whatever projects that have to be done in the most sustainable and resilient ways, and coming up with a carbon reduction target, an energy reduction target that we can use as a goal and an objective and figure out how to get there. I also want to see, of course, the town continue its good government, being open and responsive to residents, I'd like to see us take advantage of all the wonderful natural areas and conservation areas and recreation opportunities we have. Because that was something we learned in COVID, that people really were focused more on their community and really looking to enjoy their community more than they were
And the
before.
outdoors.
Right. And so we have these beautiful spots. We have the Leather Stocking Trails, part of the Colonial Greenway. We have the Hommocks Conservation Area. We have the Premium Marsh. We have wonderful assets in the community to take advantage of and enjoy, to make you feel more connected to the community and to enjoy the community.
What are you going to miss most about not being town supervisor?
I'm definitely going to miss some people that I work with now, and I'm going to miss my being able to show my enthusiasm for the town and working with students. We've had a great opportunity bringing interns into my office and working with Mamaroneck High School and college students, as well as just greeting the second graders when they come once a year and trying to teach them a little bit about what the town does. I think local government is such an important level of government, maybe the most important level of government, because we really do affect your daily quality of life in all of the services we provide. So I love having my finger on the pulse of all those services. I love trying to help residents with issues they have and making them feel good about their community.
What's next for you? What do you plan to do?
Well, I have continued my environmental advocacy work while I've been supervisor, and I actually plan to spend more time on that and focus a little harder on those arenas, because I haven't been able to devote myself to it as much as I would have liked being supervisor. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to traveling a little more and spending some more time with my husband. He's looking forward to that.
Well, on behalf of the community, we thank you for your service. Thank you for joining us for Election Night 2021. LMC Media thanks Nancy Seligson for her service and wishes her well in the future. Good night.